Hey again, it's me again, and I'm just coming at you with another movie review, so let's get this going! And someone I'd like to give a special shout out to, my up-and-coming co-host here. What's your name? Yeah, your name, Topper. Say hello to the folks. So the movie I'm going to be talking about today is none other than Return of the Living Dead. Now some of you may remember the movie The Night of the Living Dead, and that was a movie back in about 1962 or so. And it was released in black and white, done in recolor, all that stuff, and I believe it was given a good riffing by the RiffTrax crew. Well, it was a cool movie, and it was very strange and actually quite dark for its time as well, and very gory as well. Well, in 1985, for some reason, who knows why, some person named Dan O'Banion decided to direct and produce the movie, Return of the Living Dead, which is a bit of a sequel, a bit of a retelling of the story, kind of. It is a sequel, don't get me wrong, but they, I don't know, it's like they say they realized that the movie existed as a movie, but they say that that's not really how everything went. They said, so how it starts off is this guy's telling this younger guy that worked at a medical supplies factory that a long time ago, back in 1962 as a matter of fact, that, this army junk got seeped out into this morgue, that I'm not sure exactly what it was for, some sort of army stuff, and it was supposedly reanimated these monsters, which then were released and somehow accidentally got loose, and then, they wreaked havoc on the nearby town. And that was supposedly made into a movie by some guy who was told not to tell the actual reason of how this actually came about. And well, then, so they say the movie back in The Night of the Living Dead was a real movie, but it didn't quite tell you the whole story, and that's what this movie does. It tells you the whole story of how these zombies actually came to being. And it turns out that how this guy knows it, he doesn't really say, but he does say that they've got 5 little zombie tubes down in the basement that the army accidentally shipped to their warehouse instead of shipping to some other secure facility. And ever since then, the army has been frantically looking for their zombies. And, as is usual with factory and warehouse workers, they go down and kind of poke around a bit. They accidentally bust one of the deals open, gas splurts everywhere, including into their faces, and thus happens one of the dead bodies in the, one of these dead medical research bodies comes to life, and other things like that. Now this is kind of a dark humor sort of movie too. It's like weird quirkiness to it. Like, this half dog sort of thing came to life, and it was weird, but, and also sort of a humorous sort of way. So if you got that kind of dark humor about you, you'd probably like that bit about the movie. To me it was a little weird, but it wasn't too bad. Anyway, so what happens is they call in the boss, and the boss comes there, and he's like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And by the way, the boss is played by Clu Gulager from Oklahoma. You bet so. So he goes over to his friend at the embalming part of the this embalming area at a funeral home that just happens to be next door to this medical supplies warehouse, which is pretty handy. And he goes over there and he asks to use his incinerator, in which he incinerates the body. Well, after that, turns out that the ashes and the smoke still has that gas inside of it, and it goes up and it starts raining, and the rain comes down, and there's also a graveyard next door, and the water seeps into the graves, and all the bodies just spring up to life, which is not good for our friends. Now, in this graveyard just right next door, there happens to be a gang of these really strange kids. I'll tell you what these kids are like. These kids are like what an adult back in the 1980s thought of kids were like in the 1980s. And they're just like, the crazy, weird kids. I mean, like running around naked in the graveyard, got a chain hanging from this one kid's nose. It's just, whoa, it's weird. It's out there. These people are weird. And I'm pretty sure no one in the 1980s, no matter how bad they were, no matter what gang they were related to, they did not act as dumb as this. So, but they just happen to be there, and they start getting this rain poured on them, and it turns out that it burns their skin because this gas is in it in liquid form in the rain. Well, a few of them get kind of eaten up by some of the zombies coming out. And let me tell you, these are your regular zombies. These are old school zombies. They walk slow and go. I mean, they walk slow and just can't really get much of anywhere. And somehow they still end up to eat the Butch Kid. I mean, they're all like, and he's all standing there like an idiot, just going, "What is this? Whoa, stay back!" For some reason, it takes them forever to figure out what these things are. I mean, this is crazy. That part was a bit unrealistic. Zombies are real, but this is not real. These kids are stupid. But they do, thankfully, some of them get the help of Mr. Clu Gulager and his three other buddies. Two of which, the two freaks that got that whole mess started, they got the gas sprayed in their face. Well, they start going a little dead. So they call an ambulance out, and believe it or not, they're actually dead, physically dead. The only thing is that they're conscious, but eventually even rigor mortis starts setting in, and eventually they become zombies. But one thing that was actually kind of sad during the whole thing is the older guy, the guy that started boasting about, like, hey, I know what the Night of the Living Dead was based on. That guy, that pretty much got the whole thing started. He decided to incinerate himself because he couldn't let his wife see him or something like that. It was really actually kind of sad. It was, yeah. But the other kid, the kid that was even stupider than him, he tries to eat everybody and almost succeeds. But anyway, so the zombies learn how to communicate on the ambulance radio, which is actually kind of funny because they're all like, send more brains, and they do. Well, except more paramedics, and they do. And then when they get on the paramedic thing, there's like a cop car comes by because somehow they figured out that something screwy is going on. I guess because they hear all the screaming in the graveyard, which isn't usual, no matter what the adults in the 1980s said. So yeah, the cops get there and, well, they get eaten too. So when they figure this out, that when the cops hear about this, they hear on the radio to send more cops. Well, it's actually a zombie on there asking them to send more people because they want to eat more brains. Which, you'd think they'd know the voice of their own, officers, but apparently they don't, because they send 12 cop cars out there, all of which get jumped and eaten on. And then they set up a blockade around this little area, and even the blockade gets eaten. That's when Mr. Clu Gulager finally figures out to call the number that is written on the tub that was down in the basement that one of the zombies was inside of. So he calls the number. It turns out this old colonel guy's been looking for him ever since they escaped, because apparently it was kind of his fault. And he's got this whole protocol all set up in his mind, what he's going to do with it when he finds the zombies, and he goes through with it. And they nuke the place. I'm not kidding. They nuked that place. They nuked the heck out of it. 4,000 people dead. But it's okay, because we got the zombies are gone. And everything's okay. Well, or is it? Because at the very last moment, it starts to rain, and the gas of the burnt zombie bodies goes up into the air, and rain brings it back down into the ground, all over the place, and it starts all over again. Take advantage of that sequel. So that's Return of the Living Dead. What did I think about it? Well, you're going to either hate it or you're going to love it. Personally, I kind of liked it. I really did. Actually. I'm not going to lie. It was pretty good. Old school zombies, always a treat. As far as the acting goes, you're not in there for the acting, but the acting was actually pretty funny. Like I said, it's sort of a dark humor sort of, twang to it, so it's actually kind of enjoyable. I'd say it's a great time. You'll have a good time whether you're with your friends or whether you're alone. I mean, it's just great. I really do recommend it. Not to little kids, or younger kids even. I'd say this is pretty much for your older people out there. Stuff gets intense at points. So I'd say just, watch it if you're over whatever age you're over. Just not a kid. Anyway, so yeah, that was Return of the Living Dead. Thumbs up. And, well, that's pretty much it for now. Until next time, be on the lookout for another Godzilla review because I have ordered a Godzilla figure and it will be reviewed when it does get here. So be looking out for that and be looking out for me later on. I'm Creature Hunt Guy and I'll see you later.